It is 6 p.m. I will call this meeting March 10th, 2020 of the Miami Township Board of Trustees, Montgomery County to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Newell is not here. He is ill.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Culp.
Here.
Mr. Posey.
Here.
We will start the meeting as usual with the reading of casualties. Mr. Posey.
We have one unfortunate casualty to report today. Army Private First Class Walter Lewick, participating in Operation Enduring Freedom, passed on February 13th, 2020. He was 26 years old, based from Mountain Air, New Mexico, and was serving with the 1st Battalion, 200th Infantry Regiment, 93rd Troop Command, New Mexico Army National Guard.
Chief Stegelmeyer.
Good evening, Board. I, too, have just one casualty to report for this evening. Firefighter Jerome Guise, Citizens Fire Company Number 1, Mount Holly Springs, Pennsylvania. End of watch, March 9th, 2020.
Everyone, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all the guests that are here today, and we do have one presentation scheduled. Chief Stegelmeyer from the Police Department.
Good evening again, Board. One presentation I'd like to bring to your attention tonight was brought to my attention actually earlier last week. And it made such an impact on me, I couldn't help but to bring it to the attention of the Board of Trustees and the Administrator. But I also wanted to take this time to recognize somebody that did some outstanding work on behalf of the Township and the Police Department. Unbeknownst to him, Mel King is here tonight as an honored guest of mine.
Surprise.
Wow.
So let me explain to you why I have Mel here. In 2010, acting police chief then, Chief Krug, tasked Mel to find ways to save energy at the police department, to lower the cost of energy usage there. So in 2010, Mel started devising a plan, and this plan turned out to be a 5-step phase in order to help reduce electric usage at the police department. So what Mel did in 2010 is he established a baseline. And in 2010, the police department was using approximately, I might have this number wrong, Mel, so stop me, 287,440 kilowatt hours of power per year. That's the baseline. And that had an average cost of about $25,000 in 2010. Gathering this data, Mel came up with several phases to start energy-saving measures. So in phase 1, which started in about 2012, Mel started to install, you're going to help me with this because I have no idea what it is. He started installing occupancy sensors inside of the offices. Everybody knows what those are. Lights go off without any motion over a period of time. He also installed T12, T8 HE conversion, T832, and 828 conversion. No idea what that is. No. And exterior HID and LED conversions. That was in phase 1. And at the end, he evaluated that, and there was some substantial savings of electric. So lo and behold, Mel decided to go to phase 2. He reevaluated again. And this was about 2013 to 2015, and then Chief Hess came in and tasked Mel to continue with that work. And during that period of time, Mel did a complete conversion of the T12 and T8 HE conversion. He did more to T832 and T828 conversion and put in more occupancy sensors. And again, reevaluated the energy usage and found out again we were saving more money. By the end of 2018, Mel had completed phase 3 of his energy savings plans. In 2019, Mel began phase 4 of the energy savings plan, and that includes the elimination of portable electrical heaters, installation of programmable thermostats, and the shutting down of all condensing units during the winter months. The results of all these plans put together was something just nothing short of amazing. In 2010, the department used 287,440 kilowatt hours of power. That was the baseline of the project I spoke of earlier. In 2019, the police department only used 140,000 kilowatt hours of power. He cut it over 50%. Big number. What's that translate to the police department? We went from spending $25,820 a year on electric usage down to last year of $12,725. If that's not an outstanding example of taxpayer stewardship, nothing is. So Mel, would you do me a favor, come forward? I know you don't like this, you can be mad. You can blame Susie. We came up with a little award for Mel. It's a light for your desk, Mel, with the inscription on here I would like to read to everybody. Presented to Mel King, in recognition and sincere appreciation for your innovative ways of reducing our operating costs by making Miami Township Police Department more energy efficient. Thank you, Chief Stigmore, March 2020. Thank you, Mel. You guys say the word, Mel. Yeah, it's just.
Well, I want to say you got me again. Not sure if I'm going to be doing what I was planning on doing or not, but
You will.
I'm ready for it if I do. But I appreciate this. I was so excited about it. I had to share it with the chief when I saw the final numbers for the end of 2019. And like I told him, I'm still looking for ways. I'm addicted to it now, just because I see what it can do, how much money it can save. All three departments really have been benefiting here these last few years from things that we've implemented to help just keep the cost down. So we're going to keep trying, keep finding ways. John, I know you're on board with a lot of this and know a lot more about it than I do probably, so I appreciate any input you might have. So again, I thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's make sure we get an occupancy sensor on that light for your desk.
Sorry, you can't plug it in. It draws too much power.
While we're on the topic of energy savings, I'll remind those that might be listening online. Ohio has an energy choice program. You can go online, get the latest rates. Natural gas is plummeting in terms of historical lows, so now is an absolute wonderful time to lock in a good low rate. So I encourage all of the members of the township to shop for the most economical rate available on natural gas and electricity for that matter. And I'm not sure what our contracts are here in the township, but now would be a good time to
He's on it.
go out and look for it. Look at those energy costs and lock in those low rates now. Excellent. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Hess, we have new business, Resolution 25-2020.
Yes, sir. Back in July of 2015, we began reclassifying a few of the positions within the police department. Previously, as you read the memo, we had positions township-wide that were administrative assistants 1, 2, and 3. We eliminated everything except for 2 people that were a administrative assistant 3. First was Mrs. Lee O'Malley, who is the CALEA accreditation manager at the police department. And her actual duties do not line up with anything that says in the administrative 3 job title. The second one is Mrs. Erica Priest, who is my administrative assistant. It fit more toward hers. So with this resolution, I'd like to remove a position, and that is the title of Administrative Assistant 3, reclassify two of our employees, one to the title of CALEA Accreditation Manager, and one to the title of Executive Administrative Assistant to the Township Administrator. As for the position of the CALEA Accreditation Manager, The wages do not change. There was actually, put a extra step in due to a extra dollar she was receiving due to job classifications back in 2008 that disappeared, but the dollar never changed. But for Mrs. Priest, I've changed the position a little bit to include other job titles that she's been given. It does change the pay structure slightly. If I can find the page. It goes, started at 19 and some change, and would go, now the new scale is 2175 to 3095. The biggest thing, it makes her a office manager for the administration, so she makes sure that anybody new coming in is trained, supplies, budget, so she oversees all that. So I am open to any questions you may have on that.
So you're asking to give her a pay raise, is what you're saying?
Because actually it's a new range within the new title
Right.
from the difference. So in reality, yes, it'd be a pay raise for her for everything she's doing.
Okay.
But also a new title.
Out of sequence with all the annual raises that we give, I take it?
Yeah, it's a totally new structure.
Okay. So how much is this new pay increase?
About $1,000 a year
Okay.
at the top step. It takes 96 months to get to that.
But what's the increase we're giving her right now is what I'm asking.
It goes from dang it, 19, almost 20 to begin with 21. It's about $2 at the bottom step. At the top, as I said, 96 months out, it's about 2,000 total. So it also changes the structure of the percent raise between the years. And that's something we'll come to you later on about, but there was no rhyme or reason about the increase between year one and year two and year three. Sometimes it's a 5%, sometimes it's a 1.2.
Okay.
And so it balances that out. So for non-union people, there's a higher end date rate. You get a raise at 6 months, you get a raise at a year. So the year would be consistent with the rest of the years.
Okay.
So as an example, as I said, if it's a 4% per year, the first year at 6 months you get a 2, 'cause that's the end of the probationary period, and then you would get 2 more at the end of the year, and then everything else is on a 12-month cycle.
Okay.
And again, as I said, it goes out to 96 months.
Okay. So her salary immediately changes from what to what?
It would go to 2175 is what she would go to immediately, and she's
42.
19, she's almost at 20.
Okay.
Any other questions? Charlie Stegemeyer, Chief, you have a resolution 26-2020.
Yes, sir, I do. Board, you've already received prior to the meeting the staff report I presented on the new cruisers I'd like to purchase for the police department, actually lease for the police department. What I'm proposing in this resolution is that we enter into a leasing agreement with Ally Banking, municipal credit leasing for the police department. This will allow us to lease 6 brand-new Dodge Durangos, and actually saves us a substantial amount of money by doing so. And it also allows us to defer our money over a 4-year period instead of putting all the money out front. What these cruisers are going to be doing is I have, in the staff report outlined, we have several cruisers that are reaching higher mileage. While I'm not going to do away with these cruisers except for one of them, I'm going to move them into as a backup cruiser. What I would like to do is move these new cruisers into to replace the older mileage cars on a day-to-day usage, as well as add to the fleet. The reason for adding to the fleet, as you know, most recently we have switched and started overlapping shifts to put more boots on the ground. And that has caused me some cruiser shortages at time during our peak periods. We've had times where officers are waiting on cars or had to double up because we have been short of cruisers. This will allow me some breathing room, put more cruisers on the road, and especially when we have a couple cars that go down with mechanical issues or been involved in accidents, it allows us to have a couple spares in reserve so we're not in this type of law anymore. Pretty well detailed the cost involved in the staff report, and I'd be willing to entertain any questions that you may have.
I have no questions, Chief. I just want to compliment you and the team for going out of your way to look for options to minimize costs of vehicle acquisition. Clearly, there are a number of departments around the region and across the nation that, well, all we drive is this, and they standardize on that. And when those costs get out of line, they just say, well, that's our vehicle. And our department, you know, some people would say, well, it's got a mishmash of different brands, but it's got great vehicles. And this, according to what I've read in your report, is acquiring a vehicle at a cost significantly less than other brands out there. So a lot of people hear Dodge Durango and they're, wow, that's a big fancy SUV. You know, it must be a luxury buy, when in fact, this purchase is significantly less than a Dodge Charger or the Ford sedan product, which is no longer available, and the Explorers, according to what I read, about 20 to 30% more expensive than a Durango. So compliment you for your foresight in looking for an economical vehicle for us to purchase, and I think it's the right thing to do to keep the other vehicles in the fleet and not send them out to auction for pennies on the dollar, keeping them in reserves because, as we know, we do have vehicles that will occasionally break down. So compliment your study for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Chief, again, I also wanted to compliment the quality of your presentation in putting this together. As a new trustee, I'm not used to the level of detail that we might get in some of these decisions, but it's easy to understand how you arrived at the decision you did. It was reasoned, understood, and backed up with data, which are all the things trustees up here who may not buy cars for an institutional organization on a daily basis. It helps us understand your thought processes and your needs when you come to us with something like this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So hearing no other questions, I'll move to open the public comment period. Anybody wishing to address the Board of Trustees can come forward. You have up to 5 minutes to speak. Seeing no one, we will close the public comment period and move to consideration of vote on resolutions in motion. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 025-2020, a resolution to adjust personnel titles. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees hereby reclassifies the Administrative Assistant 3 of the Police Department to the title of CALIA Accreditation Manager, and the Administrative Assistant 3 in Administration to the title of Executive Administrative Assistant to the Township Administrator, and further directs the Township Administrator, Ronald Hess, to make necessary actions to have the pay schedule reflect the creation of the positions effective March 15, 2020.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? I would just like to share that I think it's appropriate that we look and make sure that our administrative and all our personnel are in the right classifications. When someone's job functions completely change, that's the time in which we should take an opportunity to change titles, and these title changes appear to be appropriate, in my opinion.
Okay, Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 026-2020, resolution to authorize the Township Administrator to enter into an agreement with the Allied Bank Municipal Leasing Program. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees authorizes the Township Administrator to enter into an agreement with Allied Bank for the purchase of 6 Dodge Durangos to include upfitting not to exceed an amount of $241,110.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
We have no public hearings. I've been told there are no department head comments.
So I'd like to ask a question for Chris regarding the billboard at the Dayton South Airport, Wright Brothers Airport. Is that billboard still on, or?
It is still on today, yes.
Okay. So.
So we did,
Go ahead.
we did discuss that issue with them. They've given us a timeline of early April when they plan to complete the work, but the billboard is still on at this point in time, so.
When you say it's on, you're referring to the construction of it, not it
No,
physically
it is-
being on?
The sign is
Okay.
physically on.
And is that a
yes.
problem?
We don't have a rule today that says it, when you can turn it on versus when the construction is completed, so, as a digital
So
billboard.
it's operating in the midst of construction, the final construction has not been approved?
Yes,
The masonry work was not done because the winter came, but they turned the message board on.
So that we have a functional operating billboard, but the final construction is not complete?
Correct.
Thank you.
yes.
So my problem with it is we didn't approve a functional operating billboard. We approved a billboard that had had construction around it to soften its, what should I say, its look and feel, its aesthetic appeal that would be right there on 741 at the Dayton Airport. When I drive by it at night, what I see is a huge amount of light pollution 3 feet off the ground just flashing at you as you drive by. There's no construction around it. There's no welcome to Miami Township. This is something that I reluctantly went along with. And to give you an idea of, of why I reluctantly went along with it, this billboard company has already asked us to put more of these up in the community, and we are not going to do that. And I'm not happy that they're running ads without completing the structure. We wouldn't allow a homeowner to act like that, and most businesses, we wouldn't allow them to act like that if we approve something. We would expect it to be finished before we'd make it operational or inhabitable, or the business opens, whatever the case might be. So I hope, I understand that we have no legal basis to encourage them to turn it off, but I certainly hope they decide to turn it off until they finish the construction.
Thank you. Any other questions for department heads? Any elected officials' comments? Again, Mr. Newell is home sick. We wish him well. Mr. Posey?
None from me, thank you.
Mr. Cole?
No.
I have nothing. We are about to adjourn into work session and then an executive session. Before I make a motion to adjourn into work session, I just want to explain for those in the audience and those listening online the difference between a work session and an executive session. A work session is open to the public. If you attend, the following rules apply. You're welcome to observe the session. You're not to participate in the discussion. You're to sit along a wall if not at the table with the staff. If you have any comments or concerns, you can contact the township administrator the following day. An executive session, on the other hand, is not open to the public, and the rules are governed under section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. So with that, I will make a motion at 6:24 to adjourn into work session.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Having concluded our executive session at 8:20, I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:21.